Good morning. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. As you know, my name is Lewis, and we are here with yet again another virtual opportunity. Thanks so much, students, for taking the time to join us for our virtual sessions. Today's focus is going to be a STEM bite, focusing on the sciences. So if you're a science student learning life sciences, medical sciences, or even environmental sciences, you'll definitely find some value here. So today we have a special guest coming from a company called Exact Sciences. I don't want to say too much because our special guest is going to say all about their work there, but what we're going to learn about is how our specific guest works at this company and some of the skills and tools and even a demonstration to hear about what it's like and see what it's like to work at a STEM company. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming our guest, Amy Yuan. Hi, Amy. Thank you so much for joining us. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, thanks. Thanks for inviting me. Hello, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, depending on where you're located. My name is Amy Wren. I work for Exact Sciences, and my job title is a Senior Systems Engineer. And so, what that means is that I work in automation. And in Exact Sciences, we focus on the full spectrum in terms of our skill sets. So you can have a background in different careers, and then you can join the company to work on improving lives for patients through research, through development, through automation, manufacturing, and even in the clinical lab. So there's many opportunities that everybody could find a position that would be interesting to them. So today what we're going to explore is the topic of system decomposition. So why is system decomposition important? How is it interesting? What are we going to do with it? So when you look at everything and you think about it in terms of, I want to solve a problem, I want to design something new, it's helpful to look at it from a big picture. So you first zoom out and you say, hey, what is it? And you look at it in terms of, it's a system. And why is it important? Because a system is made up of many different parts. And the better you understand the different parts that contribute to it, you can better understand how your role will be involved in interacting with that system. So either you can be a designer and you can update components in that system and help that system become better, or you can also create something ground up. So you have an idea and you want to create an invention, then invention stems around that idea. And so you have that big picture. And then once you start to think about what you want it to do, how you want it to interact, that's when you decide components. And those are the things that make up a system. So how is this important? It's important to really understand looking in and zooming in and out for perspectives in terms of wanting to think about designs, new inventions, improvements, or even troubleshooting. So in today's context, we have a couple different examples that we can run through and just kind of test your knowledge on what is a system. And we're going to use some really fun examples to be really interactive so that you guys can connect and understand how many different things could be a system. So I'm going to go ahead and step into the demonstration. And I think one of the first things we wanted to start with is start with a fun system. When you think about a system, it doesn't always have to be functional. A system can be anything. Remember, you can apply looking at systems, looking at system decomposition to almost anything. So the first one that I'm going to do an example on is cookies. So when you think about cookies, you'll want to think about what is a cookie made of, right? So a cookie, for the most part, right? What are some of the components that you think about? For a lot of things, the first thing you might think about is, well, the cookie is made up of something. It's something you can hold, and that basic component is called dough. Okay? And then you start to think about things like, okay, well, what else goes in a cookie? Remember, the cookie is the overall system. It's your big picture, right? And so you want to go in and decide what else is going on. So another one could be chocolate, right? So when you look at the system, it's starting to come up. You've got your dough, you've got your chocolate. And when we talk about system decomposition, we talk about how you can break it down even more. And this is important because of how you could do it. So I'll just start here. Cookie is our highest level. We go into another level, which is the dough and the chocolate. And then when you think about the dough, it actually breaks down further, right? So you think about the flour that you might use. You can also think about the butter or the oil you might use. And you might think about the sweetener you might use. And so when you look at a system, specifically a cookie, you now know what are the components that feed into the cookie. Now, remember when we talked about at the beginning of the talk, why is this important? Why is system decomposition important? Well, you can create something new. So now you have this in front of you. If you think about it, oh, if I change the topping, if I don't use chocolate, if I use sprinkles, I've now made a new invention, a new cookie, but it is a new invention. Alternatively, you can say, oh, okay, I don't want to use regular white flour. I want to mix different flours. I want to add some oat flour. I want to add some other types of corn flour, other types of flour. That'll give you your design, your new cookie, a new recipe. Again, you're inventing, right? So this is one way that you can use system decomposition to invent. Alternatively, again, we talked about why is this concept good? You can use a system decomposition in order to troubleshoot. Again, we'll start with the cookie example and we'll go into a STEM example afterwards. But if you think about it, you just made a batch of cookies. Let's say, hey, I can't get the cookie off the cookie sheet. The cookies are stuck. What are we going to do? You think about what are all the things that went into that cookie, and then you start looking at them one at a time to say, hey, are you the reason why? So when you think about it, okay, my cookies are stuck. I can't get it off the sheet. Well, is it the chocolate chips? Let's see. Chocolate chips are melty, and then when they get hard, they stick. But if it's warm, they should kind of slip off because chocolate is melting. So it's probably not the chocolate. And then you might think, oh, well, is it the sweetener? Well, during the mixing process, I've mixed the sugar already. So they should have been melted and went in. So that's probably not it. Oh, wait a second. I have butter. I have oil. Did I not add enough butter and oil? Is that why it's sticking? Right? So this is the process that you can go through for troubleshooting. And it's very interesting. And again, like we said, you can use system decomposition, breaking it down into components to invent new things, or you can alternatively use it to troubleshoot. And why is troubleshooting important? Because troubleshooting lets us learn from things that are happening and try to make it better, right? So after you troubleshoot and say you're able to go down with your decomposition to say, this is the reason why, next time you know how to make it better. And this is the same process that we take when we work on different things like pharmaceuticals, medical devices, development of any other product. We always want to figure out what's wrong and how can we make it better. So this is just one of those examples. Okay, we have a little bit more time. I'll now go into a STEM example. So for your age group, it's sometimes difficult to think, hey, what in my everyday life is a medical device, right? But for many of you, hopefully you might have known, hopefully you'll become aware, there's something called a contact lens. So a contact lens is used to help you see. And if you happen to use contact lenses, it'll be a really fun example to walk through. So we have a contact lens. When we think, remember, we're going to step out and then we're going to zoom in, right? So the first thing we think about is contact lens. Okay, a contact lens helps me see. So the first thing that needs to be involved with this system is being able to place on your eye. And that's really helpful. What's something else that you might need to do? It's a contact lens. It's on my eyeball. It also needs to be, and it has to be the right prescription. I'll call it RX for short, but basically it'll be the right prescription. Because if it's not the right prescription, you won't be able to see. You're going to see things at different planes, right? So when you think about a contact lens, what else? My eyes need to be able to blink, right? We want it to be very natural. So another thing is it needs to be blink compatible. And so when you think about a design, I can't have something that touches my eye, but covers such that I can't blink naturally. It needs to fit naturally. Another thing is our eyes have a little bit of moisture. So when we think about a design or we think about how we use contact lenses, the contact lenses need to allow kind of that moisture, right? And so walking through, very similar to our cooking example again, what am I going to do with this information? Well, I started with the idea of a contact lens. Say that I've never seen a contact lens before. I'm brand new, I want to design a new contact lens. These are all the things I need to think about. I need to make sure that my eyes are going to stay moist. I'm going to be able to put it on my eyes. I'm going to have the right prescription. I'm going to have it such that I can blink without hurting my eyelids. And so, again, from a design perspective, these are all the things that you can think about from a designer. And then also going back to what can you do in terms of troubleshooting? Well, if I'm creating a new contact lens and somebody says, well, I can't see clearly, right? It's actually a combination of different things. Were they able to place it on their eye correctly? If they were, then it's probably not this component. But if they did place it on their eye and they still can't see clearly, did we give them the wrong prescription? Is it at the wrong focal plane such that they can't see clearly? And so these are all the different things you can think about for contact lenses to understand more about the actual product you're creating, more about a product that you're using to understand, oh, okay, something is wrong. What could it be? And what do I need to follow up on? And so these are all very different ways that you can use a system decomposition and understand how to deal with the problem that you're looking at today. Okay, and so these are our two examples. We have the cookie example and we have the contact lens example. So when you think about the examples we just walked through, the main thing that we're trying to target is to think about how can I think about it from a STEM perspective? A lot of STEM individuals think about things from a system level. And when they look at a system level, they ask a lot of, why is it important? What am I going to use it for? And then they dive into the level under it to say, what helps to make up that system? And using that information, they can be a designer, they can be a troubleshooter, they can help improve the products as well, right? So you don't always have to create a new product from scratch. Sometimes the best inventions come from a modification of something that exists. And a way to get at what should I modify is to think about it and decompose it. So some other resources for you guys to look into is, again, it's called system decomposition. If you're interested, there's other ways in terms of adding another word when you're looking it up, say system decomposition for a designer, system decomposition for a troubleshooter. Combine those things, and then you should be able to pull up different examples to think about, okay, well, how can I use this technique? Example, you can always use it in everyday life. Something's wrong with my car won't start, or mom's car won't start, dad's car won't start. You can go through the, okay, well, let's walk through. What do I know about the car? Like, what are the components? What could be contributing to it, right? So those are all really fun ways in which you can try these skills at home and try them in real world examples. And then last but not least, if you have any questions, I have my contact information in terms of reaching out to me. Feel free to reach out to me. Happy to have more discussions. And I hope you really enjoyed learning about systems and system decomposition today. Hope you guys have a fun day.
Thank you so much, Amy.